We live in an extended cinematic universe. And no, not just because we love it when our stories connect, but because life has sort of become a parody of itself.
Just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way.
Because of social media, every single story seems to be connected and everyone has an opinion. Back in my day, we only followed people we knew. In a world where every single pop culture reference I make here will be old news by the time I get around to editing and uploading this video, it's really important to remember this. Cameo does not equal quality. What do I mean by that? We get so obsessed with clicks and content, with shoehorning in as many famous faces as possible, that we forget to ask one very important question. Are we even doing good work? And no, not just this Socratic hurt your brain form of good, but stuff that just kind of makes you feel good. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a goofy dad with a Canva account. I'm only talking right now because I ran out of free characters on a sketchy text-to-speech AI voiceover site. Next month, I'll sound like this.
Let's make our own cinematic universe.
Wow, great idea, digital me. Heck of a transition too. Over the past few years, I've seen a lot of videos popping up of people creating their own cinematic universes. So after pontificating, is pontificating a word? One second. So turns out pontificating is in fact a word, but it didn't mean what I thought it meant. After thinking about what I would do if I created an extended universe, I finally came up with a totally average idea. But hey, it was fun. I did, however, decide against a superhero universe, although you should definitely go check out my superhero stuff. Nope, I decided to create a monster cinematic universe. Now, this isn't just any monster cinematic universe. This is specifically American monsters. Being from North Kakalaki and having a large portion of my family from West Virginia, I've always been very partial to Appalachia. And I feel like American monsters get pretty underrepresented in popular media. But hey, that could just be me. I think one of the problems with current extended universes is that everything is the end of the world, but you can have a really good story that's localized and self-contained. One of my favorite superhero movies is Batman The Dark Knight, and it has some of the lowest stakes.
What?
But the tension throughout the story is pretty gripping. I think I used stakes correctly there. Who knows? Anyways, I think this is a mistake that the Universal Monsterverse thing made in the beginning. It expanded way too much before we actually cared about any of the characters. What made early Marvel so effective was how invested I was in seeing what happened to Iron Man and Captain America, especially when they disagreed with one another. But eventually it just kind of got to the point to where we went to the movies for the end credit scene and not for the movie itself. With that being said, for my universe, I'd want to keep things relatively self-contained. You can create a vibrant universe with small threads that hold it together. I actually think this makes things more fun for the viewer because you have to more carefully view the content and tie it together yourself. One more thing before we get started, I am not a writer. I never even took a creative writing class in high school. So with that being said, the only stuff I know about pacing or plot or 3-act structure comes from YouTube videos. So cut me some slack on the storytelling side of things. All right. Let's do this. Kicking things off, we start with an 8-episode single-season show set in the 1950s following researcher Julie Lawrence and ghost hunter David Reed. Comment below why I picked those names. No, actually comment because I completely forgot why I picked those names. Reed and Julie are enlisted by some shady government dude to assist with a strange death and some mysterious sightings in the small West Virginia town of Angels Hollow. We have to have an all-knowing government agency to help us anytime we write ourselves into a corner. Angels Hollow is one of those classic Netflix one-season show towns where everyone has a secret, and they all only partially get revealed. So Julie and Reed go to West Virginia to investigate, each for different reasons, as they have their own secrets and their own point to prove. Julie is an academic in a man's world in the middle of the Cold War. She wants to prove her own worth. Her background is studying ancient languages, and she wants to understand the mystical knowledge of the ancients. Reed, on the other hand, is obsessed with proving that the supernatural doesn't exist. I actually do have a script outline for this. I'll post a link in my description if you want to read it. Please give any feedback, that's really helpful. I also started kind of making some videos surrounding this story, so let me know if you want to see more of this story. It's super self-contained, but it will set up a couple of threads that will follow later. Story 2, With the Fires Out. I really like this name. It's based on the first line of a story by Charles Skimmer that I came across while researching for this project. It follows a young engaged couple in South Dakota in the 1960s. Two are set to begin their happily ever after when the young woman, just 19 years old, is given terrible news. She has incurable cancer. The couple refuses to give up, however. They try everything they can think of. They try every doctor, every priest, everything until they spent their entire life savings and they're left completely broke. With nowhere else to go, she turns to a witch doctor in the Badlands. She asks if he can heal her. He says that he can give her exactly what she wants, but it'll come at a price. He says he'll allow her to see exactly when she dies. Scared, desperate, and in love, she accepts. He gives her a tea which she drinks, and then her death date is revealed. To her surprise, it's not as soon as she thought. She's ecstatic, thinking that the cancer is going to be cured, until the next morning when she wakes up and sees the death date of every single person around her, including her fiancé. She sees that he'll live for only another 5 or 6 years, and it breaks her heart. Staring desperately into the mirror, she tries to see her own death date, but she can't. She storms back to the witch doctor, who says that the tea healed her and made her immortal. He says that cheating death was the cost of seeing the death. The girl slowly descends into madness, knowing that she'll outlive anyone and everyone she ever cared about. Over time, all she does is weep and mourn the deaths of others. She is the Banshee of the Badlands. I think we've all questioned whether or not we want to know when we die. Forbidden knowledge is an ancient temptation. It's the first story of the Hebrew and Christian Bible, and this story addresses that. At the very end of the story, a shady government agent shows up in South Dakota and meets the Banshee's fiancé. She says she's there to help and will make sure that the Banshee is taken care of. She introduces herself as Agent Julie Lawrence. I've also planned out a rough outline of the last 2 stories. They do have some threads that I don't want to spoil in case I pursue making more videos about this universe. So I'll just give you a brief synopsis. First of all, or third of all, no monsterverse would be complete without a mad scientist playing God. But instead of Frankenstein's monster, our abomination creation will be the Mothman. And to cap off phase 1, we'll have the big bad of the first phase. Instead of a generic witch, we're going with Wendigo. So I had a ton of fun making this project. I also have a lot of other ideas for potential future phases for this universe. They're mostly silly, but not more silly than this. So I'm definitely up for making more of these videos and expanding the American Monsterverse. Like and subscribe or something? I don't know. Class dismissed.